It's not a lot of players that are playing for Florida State. And all the players not playing are the good players, which would lead you to believe that Georgia's going to win this game by 1 million. But we're probably going to win the game by 1 million. We'll tell you about it today on Locked On Bulldogs podcast.
You are Locked On Bulldogs, your daily podcast on the Georgia Bulldogs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome back to Locked On Bulldogs, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. Today's episode, by the way, brought to you by Game Time. Game Time, fantastic. More on them in a moment. Last-minute tickets are what you need to find out for Game Time. Thanks for sponsoring today's episode. Thanks for being our first listen, as well as if you're part of the 199, which means you listen all the way to the loyal third segment listeners, you're part of the 199. Thank you. We do this podcast for you. We love you all. Head over to the audio side, subscribe. If you're on the audio side, head over to the YouTube side, subscribe. Find us over on Twitter, Dawgs Podcast. Interact with us. We love being with y'all, hanging out with y'all. He is Daniel. I am Clint. This is Locked On Bulldogs, and we are talking Orange Bowl preview. Daniel hinted at it. Turns out that the state of Florida has had some sort of reserve call-up duty to some foreign land that just all eligible athletic young men are leaving in droves and not participating in competitive affairs in the state any longer, which is a crying shame to see. We've seen a number of injuries take players out of this game, which has been a big bummer. Truly and honestly, it is not fun to see that happen.
That sucks.
That really does suck. But also a number of guys going to the NFL. Florida State has a talented roster. Should have been in the college football playoff, as we have notably said on this podcast before. Got absolutely robbed. The playoff committee is full of jokers, hacks, has-beens, and people who have no clue about football whatsoever or ethics whatsoever. So Jim Harbaugh being in the college football playoff fits perfectly. 100%.
It works well.
Works really, really well. We're going to talk about those who have been opted out for Florida State. We're going to break down the roster. Then we're going to talk about the game. We talked about yesterday's podcast, a number of guys that have come back and declared that they're playing this game for Georgia. Hint, it's a lot of talent, especially in the defensive secondary.
It's more than it should be.
See, and that's what, I mean, it kind of is. Like, joking, but also not joking. You shouldn't have this many high-caliber NFL draft pick type guys opting to play in this game, Daniel.
By the way, for their entire college careers have known nothing, some of them know nothing but going to the college football playoff and competing for national championships. And now a season that, while still incredible, 12-1, still unblemished in the regular season, you lose in a close game to Alabama in the SEC championship game. Nothing to sneeze at, but a season that can only feel like, to these Georgia players, a disappointment, a letdown. And yet to see so many of these guys choosing to come, really all of them who aren't dealing with significant injuries that they're recovering from as they try to pursue their dreams, aka Mary Smiths and Brock Bowers. To see so many guys coming back and playing for Georgia, it is a rarity in college football. It is not the norm in college football. And I'm not going to sit here and say that it's some sort of Kirby Smart coaching magic. I think there's a culture at Georgia that is conducive to this. It's not necessarily like it's 100% guaranteed that this is what you're going to get all the time. But I think there's a culture that's conducive to it. And I think it speaks to the level of commitment that a lot of these kids have to this program. It's exciting to see. It's fun to see. And I think schematically, Clint, it gives Georgia a massive advantage in this game, both on the offensive side of the ball and on the defensive side of the ball.
It really does. Now, normally in situations like this, we often use on this podcast sometimes like boxing or UFC analogies. We're talking about fights and that sort of thing. And sometimes when you take a fight on short notice, it could be a benefit to you. You don't have a lot of tape. You don't have a lot of understanding. And sometimes those guys that take fights on 2, 3, 4 weeks notice come in and just wallop on a dude because they got nothing. They just, hey, I'm going to go out here. I'm going to ball. I'm going to get in the ring.
They out here swinging.
We're just going to swing. I know what I got in my right hook. I know what I got in my left jab. I could do it. However, Daniel, sometimes the analogy falls short because you got to be in the same place, in the same atmosphere, the same playing field with somebody as 60.
Yeah.
It just doesn't add up for these cats at times. This is one of those situations where if you look at the experience,
football ain't boxing. I think just to summarize your point.
To clarify, you can't one knock punch somebody out, Daniel. In football, you got to play the whole clock. And if we have
also
more
team
talent,
sport,
that's funny. You have more experience, more knowledge, more communication, more longevity in a system with your other brothers out on their field. It changes things a great deal. And that's exactly what Georgia has, and Florida State does not have it. It is beyond conducive to say that in that regard, talent, loss of talent, the war of attrition, talent of Florida State getting rid of guys and Georgia keeping guys, that's one. But two, the continuity aspect, the communication aspect, the trust, the familiarity with the playbook. Right now, Florida State has walk-on quarterbacks as their backup, number 2 and 3. They have running backs that they have 2 running backs who not this year has contributed. I mean, legitimately, they have 2 running backs who started as running backs at the beginning of the year. The rest are converted wide receivers, and the rest of the running backs are not in Tallahassee any longer. Like, it's down bad.
It's why Georgia is a 19.5-point favorite in this game. You've got a 13-0 team against a 12-1 team. And Georgia is a 19.5-point favorite in this bowl game. And it's not, if these teams played in the regular season, that would not be the point spread. But it's not the same Florida State team. And so that's why we've been saying, that's why we said right after the College Football Selection Committee announced their results, this game does not in any way validate or invalidate Florida State's deservingness of being in the college football playoff. It does not in any way speak to whether or not they deserved to get into that playoff. That's an old conversation that we're not going to revisit here, but it is worth noting. But Georgia, a heavy favorite in this game. We're going to talk about why in the next 2 segments as we talk about the Georgia offense versus the Florida State defense and the Georgia defense versus the Florida State offense. But first, this.
This is back Game Time. Game Time. Download the Game Time app today. Use promo code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Game Time is fantastic. Let's say you're trying to get in the Orange Bowl. Let's say you made a spontaneous decision. Let's say you got with a whole bunch of buddies and you're like, hey, we got some time. We got some unused PTO. We need to use that PTO because guess what? It can't carry over.
Miami town.
Come on down to Miami. Get yourself some fantastic food, some fantastic nightlife, and a fantastic football game. Head on Game Time. Game Time app, download it. It's convenient. It is safe. It is reliable. It's the cheapest of fees that Daniel and I have experienced. We use them to get in a Kentucky game. Right now, use promo code LOCKEDONCollege, $20 off. That's Game Time. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets. Game Time, LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off.
All right, Clint, where do you want to start? Georgia offense or Georgia defense?
I want to start because I think this is the most notable for Georgia fans because of how the season went. Well, actually, now that I think about it, it could be one of 2 things. I'm going to say offense now because I think it's notable because the offense had a very, very poor performance against Alabama. And we're going up against what was a very top tier defense during the regular season. Florida State, very good. Verse is going to be what? Top 20, top 15 pick, Daniel?
I think he's the best defensive player in all of college football this year. When I watched college football, to me, he was the best player I saw. I don't know where he's going to get picked in the draft. We mentioned it yesterday because NFL GMs are idiots.
Yep.
But I think he's the best player, just like I thought Jalen Carter was the best player in college football the year before. So, yeah, Jared Verse, absolute freak. He's not playing in this game. Florida State also down a corner. They're down their starting safety. They are down a couple other guys on
number of
on
defensive
defense.
tackles. They have a couple of defensive tackles playing this game, but contributors, they've lost a lot of that. So it's very thin, and the top level contributors are gone. So it's mid-level kind of rotational guys.
I'll say this. They have a lot more guys playing on defense than they do on offense. Close to 20 opt-outs. 20 players not playing for Florida State in this game. More of them are on the offensive side of the ball. So when we talk about the difference between the way this team looks from the way they looked in the regular season, the defense is most similar for Florida State. So yes, Jared Verse, their best player by a lot, isn't playing. But I look at a guy like Braden Fisk, who's a defensive tackle, number 55, plays on the inside of that defensive line. He is an absolute animal in the middle of that defense. Stops the run, gets after the quarterback. He is a problem. They're up on the other side of the defensive line. Their starter is back, Patrick Payton. He's back. He's expected to play in this game. Fabian Lovett expected to play in this game as well. And so they've got several guys. The secondary is mostly intact. They had a cornerback opt out. Obviously, they're missing their starting safety. And so they are missing a couple pieces on the secondary. All the linebackers are back, though. And so Georgia will be up against what will be a bit of a formidable test on defense. Now, certainly not the best defense that Georgia has played this season, but it will be a bit of a test. It'll be interesting to see, obviously, no Brock Bowers, which Georgia is used to this year. But with Carson Beck back, it'll be interesting to see, what the run pass balance is for Georgia in this game, what the game plan is, what the plan of attack is, and where they try to go to attack this Florida State defense. I think Georgia's ability to protect a quarterback this season and Florida State's loss of their overwhelming leader in quarterback pressure is a great recipe for Carson Beck to have a ton of time. And what we've seen all season is that when Carson Beck has a ton of time, he will absolutely destroy you.
That's exactly right. I think the running backs getting right. I think the offensive line down Mims and Tate Ratledge and SVP playing this game. I think they will be on point. I think the wide receivers, Ladd McConkey's practicing, which we didn't talk about him on yesterday's podcast. I don't know what type of
why is he practicing?
I don't know what type of percentage he will play. So a guy can dress and a guy could practice and a guy could go through all, because this just in. It's kind of fun hanging out with your buddies and playing football when you have nothing more to do in South Florida. Like let me just, if I gave you a week of practice of hanging out and balling with a bunch of your buddies in South Florida in December, would you take that? You would. You just would. Okay. If that's the case, I don't know what the snaps he's going to play. I have no idea, and you don't have any idea. All I know is having fun right now. So why is he? It's fun. I don't know. If I was his father, I'd be like, hey, lad, why don't we just come on over here and let's have a
dial it back. But it'll be interesting to see what the Georgia offense looks like. I think it'll be interesting to see what the game plan is. I think Georgia does have weapons. How will they attack? How aggressive will they be? And in that aggressiveness, I think sometimes in bowl games, what you see is that offenses maybe get a little too aggressive. They get outside of their game plan. They put the ball at risk. You just watch this bowl season. Have you been watching college football so far? There's a billion turnovers in every game. Every game's got like 20 interceptions. I mean, guys just out there throwing it up for grabs. So that's the recipe that I think that hurts Georgia in this game. If Carson Beck just gets that back there and starts throwing it up for grabs, if Georgia just stays calm and runs the same stuff they've been running all year, which has made them a top 10 offense, top 6 offense in all of college football all year. How dare I? how dare I use facts to defend somebody that other people just actively dislike? If they do that, I don't see any way that this Florida State defense is going to be able to hold them under 24 points. I'll say that.
No, I don't see how it is possible. If we just keep on rhythm with it. You know what not liking Mike Bobo is like? I'm sorry. Not liking Mike Bobo is the last time somebody asked me what my favorite color was, I was in fact still getting Baskin Robbins coupons in my stockings for like Christmas, and I thought it was the best thing in the world. It's
You
like
still get
saying, no, Daniel.
Somebody hit my man up with some Baskin Robbins.
Look, I need Baskin Robbins. My man needs
it's a cry for help.
Right front burner needs fixed on my man's stove.
You can't heat anything up over there.
But why, when I say I don't like Mike Bobo, it's like saying my favorite color is blue and green is a bad color.
Stupid color. Oh,
you sound like a child. Like, I don't know any other way to say it. You're a child. Okay, I'm off my sentence.
Yeah,
we're gonna go back.
That's accurate.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this Florida State. Let's start about this Florida State offense, if you can call it that, in the next segment. But first, this.
I don't know if we can call it that, Daniel, but we're going to try. FanDuel right now is where you need to go. FanDuel, make every moment more. FanDuel.com/lockedon. If you say you wanted to go ahead and take the 19.5, which,
give the people a lock right now in the FanDuel ad read, Clint. Give the people a lock.
The lock is first quarter spread. Whatever the first quarter point spread is for Georgia, take it. Georgia, the experience is going to show out. I don't know if it's going to be 19.5, but whatever the first half is, take that and lock it up. Give the points to Florida State. They ain't scoring anything in the first half.
Florida State team total under 12.5. That's the lock.
Up under 12.5 first half team total for Florida State. It is going to be embarrassing because Georgia, those players are going to play in the first half. Florida State's not going to have anybody. The running backs on. It's bad. FanDuel.com/lockedon, where you can go to make that first half team total for Florida State. They have spreads. They have over-unders. They got everything you need. FanDuel, make every moment more, the official sports book of Locked On Bulldogs and Locked On Podcasts everywhere. And right now you get $150 in bonus bets for new customers if you make a money line bet and it cashes. $150 with the promo code Locked On. Make every moment more. 12.5. That is
all right, Clint. Team total 12.5. Florida State.
It's not great.
Florida State's offense looked bad in the ACC championship game against Louisville. And can I talk to you a little bit? Can I talk to you a little bit about that offense?
Well, you can. It's not the same offense. Just to go ahead and get to, it's not the same.
Correct. So that offense that looked bad, against Louisville, okay, it was quarterbacked by Tate Rodemaker. He's not in.
Notably, not taking his talents to South Beach.
The running back in that game was all ACC performer Trey Benson.
Yeah,
incredibly talented running back. He gonna play in this game?
No, he gonna
go? No. He gonna. Okay, we're moving down. In the X on the outside, you had 6'7" Johnny Wilson, just absolute human mismatch. Line him up against anybody, and he goes up and gets it. He gonna play in this game, Clint?
No.
He
what about Coleman?
Okay,
how about Coleman?
But on the other side, you had Keon Coleman, one of the best wide receivers in all of college football. He gonna play in this game, Clint?
No, he's also not taking South Beach in.
No, he's gone. But they had this versatile weapon from South Carolina that they had at the tight end, H-back position, Jaheim Bell. They used him in the red zone. They used him on the wheel route a lot.
He's going to be a very good NFL tight end.
Unguardable at times. Jaheim Bell, he playing in this game, Clint?
Let me just not barely. He's also not playing in this game.
Okay. Well, also the left tackle's not playing in this game. Also the backup running back is not playing in this game. We're now getting into backups that aren't playing. Georgia's offense is without Brock Bowers.
Okay, that's a big hit.
Florida State's offense is without everyone except 4 offensive linemen. And I'm not exaggerating when I say that.
When I talk percentage of yardage and points that they attributed to this season,
it's 100%.
Okay, it's not an exaggeration to say that.
It's all of their offense.
Okay. What?
Okay.
So if I were
talk
to understand
me
football,
about Xavier Sorey not playing in the game,
sure,
and JDJ not playing in the game. I'm not overly concerned because Florida State did not have a prolific offense since Jordan Travis went down. Didn't have a prolific offense anyway,
no.
And now they have lost literally everyone off this team.
Have people to contribute and to carry the ball and to catch the ball and to throw the ball. They have 4 out of 5 contributing offensive linemen. I suppose you can use that term. If I got really loose with that understanding,
they're going to try to run the football.
There it is. That's what you have to do.
When the only starters you have are offensive linemen, you hand the ball off to anyone back there and you try to run the football.
And you see what you got.
And so Tyke Smith, Javon Bullard, Kamari Laster, glad you guys are playing. Come on up into the box and get ready to be in run support because
why don't we just man up on the outside? Why don't we just man up at the outside?
We're gonna be fine. There's not a single guy on this Florida State roster that I don't feel comfortable with. Listen to me, Georgia fan. Any of our corners going one-on-one man coverage with Clint. Listen.
I can't.
Listen.
Okay, I'm trying.
Any of them.
Any of them. Every time you say any of them, there's literally a shiver that goes down my spine. Just so we're fully aware.
I feel good about there's just no weapons on this Florida State team. They're going to try to run the ball. They're going to try to shorten the game. They're going to try to hit some plays, and they're going to try to turn Georgia over and kick field goals. That's what Florida State's going to try to do in this game. Now, will they be able to muck this game up and dirty it up and cover 19.5 points? It is possible. A 24-6 game is very, very possible. A 26-9, just absolutely the ugliest college football game you've ever seen in your entire life, is very possible. 42-0 is also very possible in this game. And it's not because Florida State is a fraud.
No.
It's because Florida State doesn't exist anymore. That team that played all year doesn't exist.
They had their soul snatched from the entire institution. Norvell said it himself. They were talking about, he didn't use just depressed state of affairs for the program after not making college football playoff, and it had ripple effects all the way down. They didn't handle it well, and it was a bad break. One of the worst decisions.
Handling it well.
They're still not handling it well. It's going to have ripple effects all the way down. Morale is huge. And getting young guys who, by the way, this entire offense are all young guys. The offensive linemen are upperclassmen, but we're talking quarterbacks. We're talking wide receivers. We're talking there's a lot of youth on this side and inexperienced.
And these are talented players.
I'm not
These
doubting
are talented
that.
players.
Correct. You have to be to play at Florida State.
Exactly. Just like if Georgia were down all of its starters, it would be a huge blow, but there would still be guys behind him who can make plays. Florida State will make some plays on offense in this game.
Yeah.
But again, football's not a street fight. You can't just go out there and be feisty and try to knock somebody out. It's a team game. Continuity matters. Like chemistry matters. And it's not just overall talent. It's skill and the ability to play together. Georgia has that. Florida State does not. I don't expect this game to be close, Clint.
No. Here's my prediction. A lot to a little. What that looks like, there's a wide range of that, but it's a lot to a little, depending on what Kirby wants to get as pertains to experience and guys getting in those snaps and how many times Ladd McConkey wants to catch a ball or doesn't want to play or that sort of thing. But it's going to be a lot to a little in Florida State. It's a sad state of affairs, honestly. Like this is more of a critique about the sad state of affairs of college football this year, that Florida State should have been competing and now can't be. And now they're really bottom basement dwellers. They're not. I have no problem. This Florida State team that we're going to play is not top 20 level team. In college football. Like, and that's not that's not
Florida
throwing
State
shade on them.
No. This Florida State team would lose to Louisville today by 30 points.
They lose
like in the ACC championship. Yeah. So it's not a lot to a little is what it's going to be in this game. And it is what it is. But if you're a Georgia fan, and you are, it's an opportunity to watch this team play one more time this season, and that is worthwhile. Clint, we got one more Saturday night overreaction show in us this year.
We're
going to get back on these mics on Saturday night. We're going to do a Saturday night.
Why not?
Let's do it. Why not? Why not 199 one more time? Saturday night. We'll see y'all after the game for the overreaction show one last time this year until basketball season. Don't think we're not going to have overreaction shows during basketball season.
Hey, by the way, Gurf,
I'm
do
sorry. It. Hey, Gurf, you go unsubscribe from this podcast just like the people that hate Brock Bowers, Gurf. I'll tell you what, just get to walking.
Don't you dare unsubscribe, but Gurf, come with me. I'll usher you into college basketball love. I will help you as I've been helped.
Won't he do it? Won't he do it? All right. We'll be back on Saturday night after the game. You guys enjoy it, and we'll see y'all then.
See ya.